All right, John, we are live. I'm trying to share it to the Phenomenal Financial Freedom page and see if anybody else wants to join us. And we're just going to talk about what happened. Hey guys, it's the Phenomenal STEMist. I'm here with the notorious Jonathan Johnson. We're going to be talking about like what is going on. I just basically want to understand, or I'm going to say what I think is happening, my perspective, what I think is happening. I'm not going to say I'm the end all be all and know it all about it and how I feel about it. And then John, you're going to talk about how you feel about it. And hope maybe somebody else wants to consider joining us, who has a little bit more experience in the field, like Desmond Thompson. You know, he's a trader, you know, a literal stockbroker. So so this is what I think happened. Matter of fact, I was supposed to turn on my light. Hold on one second. I need better lighting. All right. I don't know who's watching us. There's a couple of people watching, but John, this is what I think happened. So GameStop and AMC, just imagine most kids right now, they're playing virtual video games. GameStop is I guess a retail, you know, like we used to be able to go buy Nintendo games and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
That's what I remember. So it's basically going out of style. It's like Blockbuster. Like, who buys Blockbuster videos when there's Netflix?
Right, it's done.
And right now in the pandemic, and even pre-pandemic, like a lot of I haven't been going to a lot of movies. So we're watching.
That was done too.
Yeah, right. So we're watching Netflix and all other things. So these companies are done. So what? I don't understand it fully, but what the stock market does, many fund managers, they short these stocks that they know are failing so that they can make money off of them. And I feel like apparently social media has been able to tap into the populism of society. More people have been able to get into the stock market. So through Robinhood and other apps like that. And so it seemed like an activism move to be like, nah, you guys aren't going to make a whole bunch of money on shorting this stock. We're going to run this thing up to $300 freaking dollars. Like it's $16. And it went to $300. Like, oh my God. Like, I'm thinking like, doggone, what kind of bad stock can I buy? And no, I'm not thinking like that. But yo, that's not how the stock market is supposed to work. And it's literally, I just don't think it's a good time to be doing it. It's fun to watch it happen, to basically screw rich people who've been screwing us for a long time. But I don't know if it's a good time. It's not. I don't know if overall it's good for the market, because I like stability. That's me. I'm a stability person. What did you think about what happened and the fact that now they had actually shut down this site? So explain who these people are. I don't even know who these people are.
So it's a group on Reddit. I can't remember the name of it. It's like Hollywood Bet, not Hollywood.
Wall Street Bets.
Or something like that, yeah. And I actually found out, I jumped in and I found out about it through Twitter. I'm on StockTwits, and I do a lot of research that way. And so everybody's GameStop. Hey, and I'm like, what's going on? And then, a couple of weeks ago, boom, it starts hitting. And I was like, okay. And like you said, though, volatility is insane. Is this the safe way to go? Is this how you trade stocks? Is this how to become an investor? Absolutely not. Is this how to hustle up a couple of $1,000? Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Okay, let me tell you. Let's do the math, because this is Phenomenal STEMist, and it's all about, you got to put the math part in, right? Yeah. Listen, I always teach you guys final minus initial over initial. That's times 100%. You know what I'm saying? So like literally it was $16. It was $16. And I think the high was $370 today. So 370 final minus 16 initial divided by 16 initial is 22 times 100. So 2,200%.
Yeah.
2,200% this thing went up. Now think about it. Now, if let's say I had $1,000 to throw away, like let's say $600 of stimulus money that I really didn't need, and I said, okay, let me put it in the stock market, right?
Which is what
600, huh?
I said that's what a lot of this is.
A lot of it is this, and time. People
Yep.
are home.
Yep.
People are learning through social media. There was no social media, so even during the times when retail investment happened in the 90s, with the .com crash, and people got access to E-Trade and things like that, not many people got into the game because there wasn't social media, there wasn't apps. So it's just exponential. 600 divided by 16. That means I could have bought 37 stocks with that. Right? 600 divided by 37. I mean $16. I could have bought about 40 stocks, 40 shares. If I sell that at 370,
landfall.
So what I use to my $600 has turned into $13,000. That's the math behind it, guys. My $600 bet that I didn't even earn, I got from the government. I just bought something and I sold it at the high. I made a $13,000 profit, y'all. Over $13,000 profit. And this is what people are seeing for the first time in their life. They're making tens of thousands a day.
First time touching the stock market, and they're coming off on a win like this. I think it's good and bad. Good and bad.
Why? What's the good? What's the bad?
For me, I feel like the good is that now, for the first time ever, multitudes of Black and brown and poor and people who never fathomed the stock market being a possibility now can visualize financial freedom through this medium and say, oh, snap, if I figure this out, I could actually do well. Now, of course, the bad is that if you don't learn how it truly works and stop trying to cheat it, you're going to fall. It's going to break you.
Yeah.
I know that most of the people are really putting in the work to understand what's going on and why they're winning so much and how those wins can turn into losses. And if you think this is going to happen all the time, oh yeah, I'm gonna bet these. I made 15 grand. I'm gonna put 15 grand in the next one.
Yeah, it sounds like gambling to me, like winner's luck, right? Like, and it is, and that's the danger of it, because I don't like, the stock market is a delicate balance between gambling. So I'm not gonna even be high and mighty and act like I've never gambled before in the stock market, but I've gambled and I've lost. I haven't lost necessarily net, but I could have had more if I hadn't gambled, because I didn't take the time 15 years ago to really understand and learn the market and learn history. A lot of it, see, here's the thing, the longer you're in the market, the longer you know that these things have happened before. This is not the first time retail traders have gotten in. This is not the first time there's been this kind of behavior. And there's a lot of sad stories in the stock market. While there are a lot of happy stories, there are a lot of sad ones, because I just really pitch people would just want to learn. People just want to. Nobody wants to really learn it.
And that's the most frustrating. As a former educator and still, I say, an educator hobbyist. I like to educate people just for fun now, but that's the most frustrating part. Like, you can give them like, yo, here's the information, internalize it and go, but everybody wants you to just give them the answer. So what stock should I pick? Nah, man, that's not how this works. You got to put in your legwork. Like, you got to do, because literally teaching a man to fish is way better than giving him a fish.
Exactly.
That's all the stock market is.
And if you're not willing to learn in life, period, people will hustle you.
They will.
You'll get hustled.
They will. One thing that stood out for this play for me, I was a gamer back in the day. Not that far long ago, maybe 5 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever. Before my kids started getting old enough to get into it, and now I'm like, all right, y'all can have it. But and there was a game came out, Grand Theft Auto 5, And that was around the time when I just started getting into stocks. I knew AMD was producing the chips for the PlayStation. So I was like, yo, I'm going to jump in AMD. I made a killing, went through the roof. I'm hooked now. Like, I'm going to learn this. I'm going to master this. So I'm playing this game, Grand Theft Auto 5. And in the game, they have an actual stock market. It's not real. It's just in-game currency, right? You don't have to pay anything. It's just goofing off. So it's a simulator, basically. But through the forums, the game forums, somebody started saying, hey, guys, if we all go to this particular stock on this particular day, it should raise the stock price and all of our in-game currency will shoot up. At the time, in-game, I had maybe 100,000, 200,000 bucks. I was like, I don't feel like doing all these missions to make money. I'm going to do what this guy's saying. I do it. I end up with like 200 million, right? I'm like, but then it hit me. I was like, we're almost at the point where this can happen in real life now.
Right.
At the time, even though all the outlets were there, they weren't quite being utilized to the way they are now.
Now, so like what you practiced and simulated back then, you're starting. This is what it happened. It happened.
Like the future, it's like I remember seeing it in the game and like, yo, if this really happens, that's gonna be crazy. And when I saw this starting, I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, nah, the government's gonna step in, like something. There's no way. Like I got in, but I'm not gonna lie, I was very nervous about it. I've been so weak because it's like, is this insider trading? Like,
but here's another thing: you gotta know the rules because there's taxes. You know, unless you're trading in the Roth IRA, if you're just trading on Robinhood, just plain, you got to pay taxes on those trades.
Yeah.
Do they know that?
Most people don't.
No.
Most people do. Most people don't.
And if you sell, get the money, and you buy, and you all those sell. Every time you sell, every time profit you make, you got to pay 20. Like what? What's capital gains tax right now? 15%.
Whatever capital gains is, it's gonna hit you.
15%. What's 15% on a $20,000 profit? Right. That's
hey. Don't spend
right. That's 2,000. What? What's that? $2,500. Yeah, $3,000.
But think of it like this. Yes, you're likely going to, not you, but whoever, the majority of people are likely going to find themselves losing a great deal of money. But honestly, it's probably more than they had to begin with.
True.
So if you lost, let's say, we'll just use on this run example. I'm not going to say how much I made on this, but if this was all I made, and if I were to lose 90% of it,
it's more than you had.
I'd still be up
right.
dollars. And this is like, oh, okay, well, I learned a lesson. But how many people will actually take that as a lesson versus quitting and saying, oh, this is it. I'm done. Yeah. And that's my only concern. Is like, God, like this is the key to balancing the scales of justice for us.
It is.
Now you don't need a school, you don't need a paper, you don't need anybody with not skin color like yours to approve of you doing that. You can just go in and make money and learn and then teach your family how to make. Like my mom has made, I'm not gonna put her business out there, but she over the course of since August, my mom has made in tens of thousands.
Right.
Now my mom's a retired teacher and she never thought this would be something she could do.
Right.
I said, Mom, just sit down with me for 2 days. And I promise you at the end of this 2 days, it'll make sense. And all she did was try. And it's like, if every single one of our brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, this alone could help us with the leverage we need, even in the political arena.
Right. Economic freedom.
Our tax base is now going to increase, which means our schools have a better opportunity because now they're getting more money. It's like, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's just educate now. It's about education. All right, guys, you see this works. Now let me show you how this works and why this works. That's why I love what you're doing with Phenomenal STEM, because it's like, guys, it's all about what's up here. What's in your pocket will come and go like the wind. But what's
Right.
up here? Nobody can take that.
Yeah. And you can empower your family and your community. Like we keep trying to fight laws and without economic power.
It's like, guys, aren't y'all watching? Look at history. This is how you do it. But the beauty of it is like now I have more friends. If I were to take a poll, more of my friends are trading stocks and learning about stocks than are not. Didn't say that last year.
Right.
I was one of the few. Now, almost every day, not almost every day, I've got 2 or 3 friends texting me, hey man, what do you think about this one? Oh, check this out. What about this chart? How you feel? It's like, bro, what you know about charts? I'm proud.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, it's like asking about candlestick patterns. It's like, yo, let's do it. And the more of us that do this, the more younger kids are going to say, oh, at 12 and 13, oh, let me get into that. I was teaching my student. I got into stocks in 2015 because I was teaching. And I was teaching students about, just life. Guys, diversify your time, your energy. Like, don't just think a job is going to get you there. Here's some other things that you can do. And I was, just going through my whole thing. And one of my students was like, hey, Mr. Johnson, what are you invested in?
Wow, he called you on it.
Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to open up a Robinhood account in class. I'm going to invest in the stock in class. And for the rest of that semester, my students got to watch me make it went from $2 a share. I found AMD and the penny stocks to about, when I sold it, it was at around $20 a share. And I made a kill. That's how I started my trucking company. And I was able to see my students learn. So 30 students per class. I had 5 classes. Was that like 150 kids? So I got to be a part of 150 kids
learning about financial empowerment.
And I was like, this is it. Yeah. So it's scary. I still don't know when the other shoe is going to drop on this. The implications behind this are way scarier than just.
So let's talk about what I originally focused on. We'll stop with this one. What are those implications? What do you think those implications are? And what do you think about the fact that they shut down Reddit? Like you go to Reddit, not Reddit, but you go to the forum for Wall Street Bets on Reddit and it's gone.
Yeah.
Like that's freedom of speech, right?
But at the same time, that could literally, we're thinking it's providing a temporary stimulus, but could actually tank our economy based on inflation. Like if everybody's got $1 million, $1 million's not worth much.
That's the key thing. So that's the turning point. It's like I want to educate, but I want you to be motivated and have respect for the dollar, because if everybody's rich, it's not wealth.
But then I was thinking about that, but I was like, how do you solve that? How do you solve this problem? And I'm just thinking, I was like, well, we know that if we're being honest, ill-gotten gains usually aren't taken good care of.
Right.
I'm willing to bet that 75% of the COVID come up people who've, since COVID started, hand over fist, people have been eating. 90% of these, I've already seen people blowing this money. You got people.
It's like lottery.
Yeah, they don't care. So most of this money has gone right back into the hands of those Wall Street people who we didn't want to have it. It's only the people who are saying, all right, guys, let's hold back.
Yeah, how can I create a real product? Because that was the issue back in the 80s, where they would do, these hostile takeovers. They would do all kinds of things. Different people would do different types of things. But there was no respect for the finances.
Yeah.
And people who win lotteries, they lose, It's when you don't have respect for the dollar and don't have a plan for the dollar, it goes away. You can take that $100,000 that you made this summer and buy a rental property.
Yeah.
Empower the community. Like, what is your plan with a product? Because back in the days, they were like, man, everybody started to go into investment banking in the 80s because they were making so much money. But the economy was based off of no product, just investment banking.
Right.
And that's what tanked. That's what caused, and so My fear, Jonathan, is that we already feel the economy is bad. The pandemic is not slowing. There are many gut businesses that are closing. Many people are out of work. So the real economy has been bad for a while. This stock market has been doing well, and I've been invested in it, and they say it plans to be well this year. So I'm just waiting for a crash. I've been like
It's coming.
salivating.
It's coming.
I'm trying to get it down to 2,600. That's 40% below the. I don't know this S&P. So I don't know. But the key thing is, when certain crashes happen, like the Great Depression, when it happened in the 29, there was other things that was happening bad, and then the market crashed, and it caused a Great Depression.
Yeah.
And that's history. That's history. And the difference between the last Great Recession, was really just because of the subprime mortgages and speculation with just housing.
Yeah,
but now you speculating with this fake stuff with a bad real economy.
We were supposed to crash. We were poised to crash pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID.
I was ready. I'm already planning my strategies. I'm like, all right, we know it's coming, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID hit, and it made some wonky things started happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
People's getting the unemployment, and so they start putting that money artificially into the market. And so that artificial stimulus into the stock market makes everybody think, oh, everything's okay.
Right.
Well, no, wait till the rug gets pulled out. It's going to drop, because it's going to not just take away all that artificial money, right, but it's going to go back down to where it's supposed to be bottomed at, which is going to be another like 2009 kind of crisis type situation.
Right.
Are we ready for it? Is the question.
Exactly.
Like, what you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing to prepare for that?
Yeah.
Can you stomach that? Have you taken the time to understand that? I've been, and you don't live through crap. You don't understand how it feels until you've been through one. So I was in the stock. So you got in the market at 15. I got in the market in 06.
So you felt that.
So I experienced the 08 crash, right? And actually, I'll never forget it. And I made the mistake. Here's the mistake. I had quit my job in September 08. So I needed money to support myself for a year if I couldn't find a job. I was watching the news because I watch information, and they were like, yo, if you need the money in the next 5 years, you need to use it, to get it. Because this was Friday. I'll never forget it. Lehman Brothers were supposed to the banks were going to meet together to find out if they would give Lehman Brothers a bailout. And that was that Friday. They were going to meet on the weekend. I knew I had a feeling in my gut that they would not. And I couldn't wait till Monday. So I sold Amazon. It's painful, right? I sold Amazon. I sold my Apple, right? What I should have done is not quit my job and just suck it up. But honestly, truth be told, if I hadn't quit my job, I wouldn't be here where I am today. And I have made exponentially money compared to what I was. So truth be told, the few stocks I had in Amazon is nothing compared to my salary now. But my point is, I shouldn't have sold.
Yeah, that's what
I shouldn't have sold.
Since 15, I've been pretty successful at trading. And I get a lot of friends and family. Hey, John, you're doing good. Tell me what to do. And I remember that's the key thing. If I'm a big fan of averaging down. If you've missed the gap, hey man, you're in the pit now. You hold on to it. Just ride it out. You got 2 or 3 years. Hold on. Don't.
Yeah.
It'll come back. It always.
You're young. It'll come back with a vengeance. So I didn't sell everything, but I sold certain things, but I shouldn't have. So I watched the stock market go in half.
Yeah.
I watched it, and I'm like, oh, it's a gut punch. But then I watched in 09 and 010 and 10 and 11, that thing soar like.
Right, yeah.
I said, you know what? It's gonna be all right. If you have 15, 20 years, it's gonna be all right. But if you haven't experienced that, and you're buying at the high, and you lose half your money or more, it can be a serious gut punch.
And this is a high.
This is a high.
Ironically enough, so you in 08, 09, you were just kind of, you were in the stock market. So I just got married and we just bought our first house.
Mm.
So we're like, but this is at the peak of everything. We don't know. Man, I'm a couple years out of school, got me a little job, just got married, beautiful wife. I'm happy, life is great. And 6 months after we buy this house, 4 houses on my street go in foreclosure.
Yes.
The value of my home drops.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like,
underwater.
My wife, we get pregnant. So we're not having kids out here in Alabama. Sorry for the Alabamians. We're going back to Georgia. So we'll just rent the house out. The rest of that year, 90% of the homes in our neighborhood end up either going for sale or into foreclosure.
Wow.
So that was my introduction to adulthood.
Yeah.
Was losing your house through this 09 thing. 09. And so when I decided, I said, okay, when I get back on my feet, never again. I've got to pay attention.
Right.
And so from that point, I said, all right, I'm gonna get into investing. I'm gonna start other business. I started trucking companies and all these other. It's like, yo, you got to diversify your not just your money, but your mind.
That's right. That's right. You got to diversify.
You don't know where it's going to hit from. It could be houses this time. It could be the banks. It could be anything. It could be healthcare, coach. You don't know.
You don't know. So you got to diversify.
And you got to good, not just be into stuff. But you got to master skills.
Yeah.
Learn this stuff, man. Don't take the cheap. So many of us we want quick money. I know, get the quick money, but still take the time to learn, because this ain't the last time this is going to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to see this again. And the reason I knew how to take advantage of this is because I've seen it before.
You've seen it before. That's it.
I was like, oh, wait a minute. This looks familiar. Okay. What do I need to do? And then I came up with a strategy.
That's it.
And don't let greed take over, because I'm about to be out of 50,000 Friday if these options don't hit. So you set your principles and stick with your principles. Don't violate them, because you're going to regret it when you violate. And I know for a fact it's going to be a rough weekend for me, because I'm itching right now.
Seriously, pigs get slaughtered. Don't get greedy.
It's a fact. And I joke with my cousin. He was like, hey, the snake got to bite me. Every now and then I forget that this thing will bite.
Yeah.
And I think it's going good. Oh, I'm making money. And I'll keep going. And then I'll get greedy and I'll forget. And I'm about to get bit tomorrow. I just know it. Or Friday. I just know it, because these options are going to expire. Everything's going to hit. And I'm going to say, you know what? I earned that. This is going to be a $50,000 lesson. But I got here once. I can do it again.
Right.
No lesson is cheap.
No lesson is cheap.
50 grand tuition in January 2021. That's cool. Hey.
Well, you know what? A lot of people take that out in student loans and and they still don't get the degree. So,
but I know that the 50 I'm gonna lose, because I already know why I've lost it. So it's already paid for itself. I know what won't be happening again. This particular mistake. And so give me 5 or 6 months and I'm going to recoup what I've lost, and possibly even better, just because I can't lose and not learn.
Right.
Can't do both.
You got to be willing to get that. If you're not, like, different people have different types of stamina, skills. So some people are conservative, some people are moderate, some people are risky. Know yourself. Yeah. Know what you can handle. Don't get greedy, though. That's a principle. Don't get greedy. But there's nothing wrong with taking risks if you know that you can take the risk, if you feel comfortable taking a risk. Other than that, with me, I'm moderate. I'm moderate risk. I'm not high risk. But I do want to diversify. So I do the stocks. I want to get into. I'm scared of real estate, though. I'm in real estate in terms of my own home, but I haven't bought rental properties and things like that as yet. It's because it's
we've been waiting to buy this mountain property in Georgia for like 8 months now, but I refuse, because I know this is gonna bust. This is gonna pop, and that same property that you want X amount of dollars for it's going to be going for half of that.
Listen, John, I'm waiting. Like, I'm waiting so hard. Like, I'm telling you, I'm waiting. I'm building. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I'm building. And it won't go. But I said, listen, I've been here before. That's why I got to say this. I've been here before. Back in 05 and 06 and 07,
Yeah.
the housing prices were rising and rising and rising and rising. And they're like, yo, if you don't get in, I'm like, Mom, like, not my mom, but like, yo, haven't you been here before? Don't you remember the same feeling? Like they're telling you they make you feel like it's gonna go higher, but we are in a pandemic. Everybody has lost their jobs. Everywhere is closed.
Right.
They're talking about the especially Florida, the number one industries that are losing jobs and that are going to be wiped out are amusement parks and hospitality, because nobody's traveling, nobody's going to where we live, y'all.
Yeah, that's what we do here.
This is what we do here. A crash is coming.
It's coming.
A crash is coming, and I know they keep telling you that the houses. Ooh. I've been here. I've lived long enough. My 42 years says. My little 42 years says a crash is coming. Are you gathering yourself to get the spoils? Because God has promised his people the spoils.
That's what taught when I was reading some, I can't remember what article it was, one of the financial magazines, and it was like in 2011 maybe, and they were saying that more millionaires were created in that 09, 010 recovery than any other time in history, more than the Industrial Revolution. And I was like, dang. So I said, so when the next time this comes, I got to have my bank up so high that as soon as it all falls, I can get everything I can get.
Listen, they were buying condos for $12,000.
Oh my! Don't talk, yo. So in 2010, when we moved back to Atlanta, we were looking at new places. We saw a condo going for like 30 grand. This was the going rate. 30 grand, like in Atlanta, like not on the outskirts, not in Henry County where I'm from, like in Atlanta, 30 racks.
But people like you and me can't take advantage of it because we don't have 30 rand cash. Right. Cash was bought. It was going cash, $30,000.
But I said, not next time.
Not next time.
I said, I know what I will have. I know. So I have that. And going back to that 50 grand loss that I'm taking, number one, that's not everything. So don't think I'm being reckless and this is what I do now for a living. I don't go to work anymore. This is my job. It's using my money to make money. So that 50 grand was supposed to be a very aggressive. That's what that was dog tag for. Aggressive profits, because I'm trying to get my cash up, my bankroll up, right? So when you were talking about diversifying, even in your investment strategies, we've got to diversify our investment strategies. You need to have growth stocks. You've got to have dividend stocks. You've got to have blue chips. You got to have it all, because every day you wake up, something's going to be down.
Right.
And so your goal is to never be down.
Right.
Or to at least mitigate those losses. And you do that by protecting yourself. Diversification.
Yeah.
Tesla's hot. I've been a Tesla evangelist for 5 years. And I'm a screen. I'm dumb. I'm not gonna put it out there, but I'm gonna screenshot you that account, and you'll be like, "There's a reason."
I think you showed something. You showed like
all of it. The IRS be on this thing. I ain't showing all of it.
Watch out for Mr. Taxman. I'm telling you. Make sure you have your tax money. Make sure you have your tax money, y'all. Y'all who make good money.
It's coming, but these things is there. But I'm in Tesla deep. But guess what? I also know Tesla's gonna have its time.
Right.
It's gonna have its time. So I've got to go ahead and start making my plans and my strategy. I know what I'm gonna do before I'm gonna do it. It's not bragging. This is what you do when you're trying to win. You got to plan. You got to have when I played basketball, we had a coach. Our coach would come up with a strategy to defeat the opposing team. We watch games, we watch clips, we do research, we read the paper so that we can win. That's basketball. That's basketball. This is real life money. And you think you're going to jump in this without a plan? Come on. Like it's legit, man. Like the world is changing before us. So there's a mix of learning the old and the tried and true, the tested strategies, but also being able to adapt, because there was no Twitter back when I started investing, or when I learned, when the people who I learned from started investing. There was no Twitter. There was no social media element to this. Now we're not looking at money. You used to have to learn the psychology of money. Now it's the psychology of people. People. You can see, we know why the stock market has been booming during a pandemic. People, we get it. People have been afraid. They're losing their jobs. So what little liquidity they have, they want to take control of their lives. And they feel the only way to do that is through this new opportunity.
Yeah.
It's psychology.
It's psychology. It's straight psychology.
Yeah. So call me a bad guy, but take advantage of what you know. Like, that's the reason to be smart, is so that you can profit from your intelligence. Pay attention. Always learn. Like, you have to always learn. Be a lifetime learner. And I come from, my mom's a teacher, my dad's a pastor. So learn, like, we couldn't just sit at home and chill. Growing up, I had an encyclopedia set in my room. Like, that was my personal reading. So as a grown-up, if I'm not learning, I feel like I'm wasting my time. And if our people don't take those same attitudes,
yes,
we will be wasting our time. We will, at the end of everything, all we can do is complain about how something isn't fair.
Yo, you're right, man. You're right.
You know, like, hey, I don't want to complain. I want to be able to change it. I need to talk to you about some education stuff too, but that's another, there's a lot of stuff going on right now.
Okay. I feel you. Listen, what you're saying is so true. We can't jump into stuff without learning, but we can't ignore stuff without learning.
Yeah. Learning.
It's both ways. It's both ways. And we're living in a new time. And I keep pushing that. The days of factories are over. The critical skills of life are human based.
That's it.
Robots are taking care of everything else.
And it's
if you want to succeed in life, you got to know humanity. You got to be human, and you got to know humans.
AI is developing at such a rapid pace. It's mind-blowing. Yep. Like, insane. That it grows exponentially. So what would normally have taken years to accomplish is now able to be accomplished in months and weeks.
But you know, humans are beaten. You know that this situation that happened today is AI based. It's robots that run the stock market.
Yeah.
And so robots don't know what's going on. So they're just doing calculations. They don't know the psychology of robots. Aren't humans. And so when those humans started to go and do stuff that did not make sense, the robots were just going, this don't make sense. And it started. And so that's why the price went up like that. Those weren't other humans doing that. Robots run the stock market right now. And if they don't understand human psychology, which they don't, because they're robots, you lose every time. And that's what happened. Those hedge fund managers put the robots in charge. And by the time they try to get in charge of it, it was too late. That thing went up 300 points.
Now, you know me, I got to take everything back to race. And nature abhors a vacuum, right? Vacuum. And white supremacy essentially is a vacuum creator. It's like, hey, we're going to make a bubble so that we can succeed in this bubble and we can manage everyone else's success.
Yep.
And now, through technology, nature has found a way to offset that vacuum and says, no. So now, all those hedge funds, all those big shots, we know what that is. That don't look nothing like us. There's one or two of us there, but in those spaces, we're not feeling that.
Right.
But now we hopefully can see, guys, where there are many,
it beats the few every day. And that's what globalization is. Yep. Listen, y'all. Listen. We fighting for them to give us free. We free, y'all.
Free.
We have access. Listen,
free.
I'm talking to people in Jamaica using Zoom.
Yes.
I'm getting paid by people via PayPal, not just in America, in other countries. Like there's no limits,
There's no
y'all.
facts.
We are globalized now. We have access to the world in which the world hasn't kept, with which the government hasn't been able to keep. Can't you see? That's the problem. It's like that's why they're saying that today was kind of like a coup, like like January 6th.
Yeah.
Because can't you see? Didn't you see those boys go up into the Capitol and breach the Capitol so easy? You thought it was an infantry that couldn't be stopped. You realize, yo, it's pretty easy to get there. And now they did it today in a financial way. They said it's pretty easy. A lot of us come together. We could make some billionaires broke. That's what I was like, oh my gosh, I don't like the way it's doing for the whole market, but man, it made me feel like watching Trading Places. I don't know if y'all saw Trading Places, that movie. Awesome movie with Eddie Murphy, of taking that poor guy, homeless guy, and changing him, trading places with it. That's what happened today. A whole bunch of people got rich, and a whole bunch of rich people got broke or lost at least 20. Somebody, I think one of them lost 20% of their, that's billions of dollars.
Hey, but it's gone. It all goes back into the cycle. Now that 20 billion will be recycled, and somebody, can't escape it. These are basic laws of nature that no matter what humanity tries to do to adjust and to capitalize, it's nature. These are laws that existed long before us. They'll be here when we're gone. So you got to learn how to master them. Don't try to beat them. Just learn how to roll with them. When it was going up, I'm going up with it. When it's going down, I'm going down with it. Stop trying to fight it. We're trying to do our own thing. Oh, we don't have to. I'm into this, bro. Where's the money at? That's what you're into. Where's the money at? We see clearly there's a need for a logistics and what's that other term? Come on, it's logistics and
I guess you're just saying basically FedEx and UPS, basically transporting things.
We need to run that. Like, that needs to be us. If we see that there's a gap and nobody's filling that gap, Black people, logistics and supply chain, that's it.
Supply chain. Yeah.
We need to now, from now, I don't want to see no more Black kids doing anything else but logistics and supply chain for the next 5-10 years. And then that will be our industry. That means if anything goes anywhere in this country, it's got to pass through these color hands.
Right.
And that's these are the things that it's going to take to change.
So what does it take to get people to understand this? Because so many people are just, I don't know. It's like, I don't know.
Moments like this. I've never had so many phone calls in my life. Everybody I've been talking to for the last 5 years about getting into the stock market, it's time to learn this. Now, everybody who hasn't done it, they've called me this week. So when people realize it's real and they're seeing that money, so it's not a game. Now, unfortunately, our people, we're late. Yeah, we often learn we got to get the spanking. We can't learn from watching somebody else's spanking. But at some point, we got to learn, say, okay, this is the problem. Let's come up with a solution. And we got social media. We don't need a Martin Luther King or a Malcolm anymore. We have each other.
We have a group.
We got hashtags.
Because they can't kill the group. That's the problem with the one leader type mindset. They kill the one leader and everybody's dead.
Yep,
we don't need the individual leader. We have the group. Like, we just need to educate ourselves, take this stuff seriously, educate our children, stop being frivolous. I just want to let's stop playing games. And I mean, literally, like, I love sports and everything, but I look at how much emphasis I see our Black boys in sports. Like, I'll go to the gym and I'll see tons and tons of Black boys playing basketball. And I appreciate it because they get mentorship and they get a time to play. But I'm like, I know based on my experience, they don't put the same amount of emphasis on their homework, on learning. So they're just playing a lot, but they're not learning. Now, there's a value in sports. There's a value in teamwork. There's a value in mentorship between men. So I know I don't want to get rid of sports, but it's just too much of the high priority. We're playing games and nobody's learning the real deal. But we could even apply that same sports analogy that you had You can apply it to finances.
Facts. And it's the psychology. It all go back to psychology. Why are our our demographic is on sports? Like we can pick up any sport. Like just look at it. Before in NBA, NFL, even when we get in something, we run it. We want golf, we gonna take over. Why? Malcolm was a Gladwell. He did a book, Outliers, right?
Yes, I got a book.
What I got from the book is that the earlier you start practicing, the more reps you get in on something, the more successful you're going to be at it, right? So when I started playing basketball, I was probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old. Why? Because that's what all the older guys were doing. Why? Because they didn't feel confident in other areas. So where did they spend all their time?
Where they felt confident.
Where they felt confident. So what did they teach me to do? The same exact thing. So it's like, this is about a confidence.
Yeah.
Mansa Musa was black. Like we can't do math. We can't figure out the numbers. There would be no numbers if not for Africans, if not for Egyptians, if not for, like, that's us. They learned it from us.
Us.
Aristotle, Plato, they had to come to
They
us.
went to Africa to learn those things.
There's a reason they burned down the libraries in Alexandria. They had to get rid of the evidence because we came up. And so now we've bought into this lie that we can't
do it. And it's an identity thing. Can you imagine how much it must hurt to actually try to convince Black people that you can do math when you were the authors of it? You've lost your identity through slavery. You've lost your identity through slavery. You don't know that you were doing math pre-slavery. You can do math.
I used to tell my students all the time. I had, when I was 16, me and my cousin both, we got our car. I was born in January. He was born in March. So we got our cars really close to each other, right? And so we get these cars. We're broke kids. We don't have no money. And so we want speaker systems in our cars. Well, we have to build it ourselves because we can't afford to pay to get a speaker system built. So what do? This is before YouTube and all that. So we figure it out. We build these, one for me. We built his first, and then we built mine. Go to school, everybody wants one, right? So what do we start doing?
Selling them,
right? We hustling. And I had a teacher. I was in remedial geometry or something like. I can't. One of the remedial math classes, and I'm in class, and the teacher's, trying to explain. It wasn't even a class. My teacher just made me stay after school to tutor. So I'm in class. I'm bored. I'm annoyed. So I'm in my composition book, sketching out plans for another speaker, for the speaker box. I got my ruler out, and I got and I'm doing all my.
You're doing geometry.
Literally. And my teacher, he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Nothing." I closed the book. He's like, "John, I want to punch you in the face right now." He literally told me, "I want to punch you in the face right now." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm getting defensive. I'm thinking I'm in trouble. He's like, "Dude, everything you're doing, that's what I've been trying to get you to learn all semester." I didn't know. I'm like, well, it doesn't make sense when I see it in the book, but when I need to do it, my brain just does it. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not smart. I'm not saying I'm not smart. I mean, I'm not any smarter than any of us. I'm not a special case. But I know if I can do it, and that's why I'm very active on Facebook, because if you went to school with me, you know I'm a knucklehead. You know what I was doing in the bathroom at lunchtime. Like, you know who I am. I can make it. You can make it. Don't quit. Don't feel bad about it. Just dig in. I had to stop playing video games. Instead of spending 2 hours a night when my wife goes to sleep on the sticks, I started researching stock charts. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that 5 years later, that's my new job? Like, that's what I do. Pandemic, I was like, I'm at home anyway. I'm already doing what I'm doing. This is it. We can do this. Things, and now I pray we're starting to see it. Like, we're seeing it now. People are like, "Yo, who is it? Meek Mill." It's like, "Yo, if y'all not investing, you can't be in my circle." Where was this at when I was in high school?
I know. Where was Tupac? Tupac was talking about thug life. He wasn't talking about investments.
But also, that explains a lot too.
Yeah.
Got a lot of friends got locked up too.
Yeah.
So now if our entertain, it's unfortunate that our entertainers are the thought movers of our culture, but hey, it is what we got what we got. So at least our entertainers, now that y'all know, we got to hold them accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Stop teaching. I was so happy when Jay-Z did 444 because for me, that was one of the first mainstream Black hip hop albums that was on some different stuff.
Yeah.
He's talking about real estate, investing, art, all these things. And it's like, yo, I bought art. I hang it in my garage. Like, yo, why? Because I can do that now. I've got permission from the culture to be different. People not gonna call me white because I probably words or I make good grades in school anymore. It's different. It's cool to be smart now. And that's gonna change everything for our people because we're naturally amazing.
Yeah. And as soon as we identify within that, change our identity in that, not to say in self, I don't want to, because I still am a Christian, right? But God, we're not evolutionary monkeys. We are created in the image of God. We are creative. We are smart. We are intelligent. Our identity is in God, not in money, not in foolishness. My point is, like, let's stop playing games. I think what you said is so key. Confidence is key.
Yeah.
Confidence is key. Being confident in what you're doing, not shying away from things because you're not confident. And hopefully more of us will become learned, confident. Be careful because we always get to the party late.
We do.
Be careful. Be careful.
And
the history of this country is that Black people jump in and everybody, like, Black people jump in housing markets.
White flight.
That's out, and the stock and the housing markets drop. Black people get the union jobs, the factories go away. This country is just not set up for us to succeed through their ways. But as I said before, there's another, like, we don't need their ways. It's a new day.
Like you said, it's global.
It's global.
It's global. The dollar in Nigeria is worth half as much as the American dollar. So you mean to tell me if it's digital content, I can sublet out the work in Nigeria and get paid at a US or a European rate and pay my Nigerian workforce well, and then I can keep the profit?
Mm-hmm.
And I can do all that from the comfort of my home?
From the computer? It's a different day. It's a different day, y'all. You got to take advantage of it.
But we got to be willing to put in that work. Willing and not be afraid. Not be afraid of failure. Not be afraid of looking silly. People are going to talk. You know how many people try to discourage me from stocks? Everything from it being a morally wrong thing to it being a stupid, you're going to lose your money. Okay, well, it's my money. Let me figure it out. And I did lose a lot of money. But guess what? Eventually, I started making more and more, and I was like, now I get it. And I had to teach people. We got to teach. As we learn, we got to teach.
Mm-hmm.
Each one teach one. That's the game plan.
That's the game plan. All right, John, it was good talking with you.
So much. This was fun. I had a good time.
Yeah. Bye, Phenomenal Financial Freedom, Phenomenal STEMist. I am the Phenomenal STEMist, and so this dude right here, he's a finance guy. Math. I'm coming with Adam Maycock 2 Sundays from now. First Sunday, we're going to be talking about his road to becoming a president. See ya.